Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I haven't really changed what I eat, so why does my body feel so different? Or maybe you've noticed that the weight just seems to settle in places it never used to, and no matter how careful you try to be, it doesn't quite budge the way it once did. If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. As we move through our 60s and beyond, our bodies naturally shift. Hormones change, metabolism slows down a bit, and our daily routines often become more comfortable, sometimes a little too comfortable. And the truth is, it's not always about eating less or following strict diets. In fact, many women find that dieting becomes more frustrating than helpful at this stage of life. What often makes the biggest difference is something much simpler. It's not about adding more rules or restrictions. It's about letting go of a few everyday habits that quietly hold us back. Small things that feel harmless, even normal, but over time, they can add up in ways we don't even realize. So today, I want to talk with you, just like a friend sitting across the table, about a few of those habits. Not to judge, not to overwhelm, but to gently bring awareness to what might be getting in your way. Because when you start removing just one or two of these patterns, your body responds in ways that feel natural and sustainable. Let's start with something many of us don't even question anymore, and that's relying too much on our cars. Now, I completely understand that for many women, driving is necessary. We have errands, appointments, and sometimes we live in areas where walking everywhere just isn't practical. But here's the gentle shift to think about. It's not about giving up your car entirely. It's about noticing how often you use it out of habit rather than necessity. For example, have you ever driven to a place that's only a few blocks away? Or circled a parking lot looking for the closest possible spot? I used to do that all the time. It felt efficient. It felt convenient. But what I didn't realize was how many little opportunities one was missing to move my body. Movement doesn't have to mean going to the gym or doing a structured workout. Sometimes it's simply choosing to walk a little farther, to park at the edge of the lot, or to take a short stroll instead of a short drive. These small choices add up throughout the day. They gently wake up your metabolism, improve circulation, and help your body burn energy in a natural way. Even something as simple as walking through the grocery store a bit longer, or carrying your own bags instead of rushing, can make a difference. It's about weaving movement back into your life in a way that feels easy, not forced. And once you start doing that, you may notice something surprising. You feel a little more energized. A little lighter. Not just physically, but mentally too. Now, there's another habit that's even more subtle, and it happens right in our kitchens, often without us even thinking about it. And that is using large plates when we eat. This one is so simple, but it can have a powerful effect. Many of us grew up being taught to finish everything on our plate. It was a sign of appreciation, of not wasting food, of doing the right thing. And that mindset stays with us. But here's the thing. When the plate is large, we tend to fill it. And when we fill it, we tend to eat it all, whether we're truly hungry for that amount or not. I remember when I first switched to using a smaller plate for my meals. It felt almost silly at first. I thought, this can't really make a difference. But what happened was interesting. My plate still looked full. My meal still felt satisfying. But I was naturally eating less without feeling deprived. There's something about the way our brains respond to visual cues. A full small plate feels abundant. A half-empty large plate can make us feel like we're missing out, even when we're not. So instead of trying to control your portions through willpower, you can gently guide yourself by changing the size of the plate. It's a small adjustment, but it removes that internal struggle. You don't feel like you're on a diet. You just feel balanced. And when you combine that with slowing down while you eat, really tasting your food, enjoying each bite, something shifts. You start to notice when you're actually satisfied, not overly full. Now, there's one more habit I want to talk about, and this one is incredibly common, especially in today's world. And that is sitting for long periods of time. Think about how much of your day might be spent sitting. Maybe you enjoy watching your favorite shows, catching up on the news, or spending time on your computer or tablet. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all deserve moments of rest and relaxation. But when sitting becomes the majority of our day, our bodies start to slow down in ways we don't always notice right away. Muscles become less active, circulation isn't as strong, and over time, it can contribute to weight gain and stiffness. I've caught myself doing this too. Sitting down, just for a little while, and suddenly an hour or two has passed. It happens so easily. One gentle way to shift this is to simply break up those periods of sitting. You don't have to give up your favorite shows or your quiet time. Just add small moments of movement in between. For example, during a commercial break, you might stand up and stretch. You could walk around the room, or even do a few light movements, just to get your body going again. If you're on the computer, you might set a little reminder to stand up every 30 minutes. These small interruptions don't feel like exercise, but they keep your body engaged. They remind your muscles to stay active. And over time, they can make a real difference in how your body feels and functions. And perhaps even more importantly, they help you reconnect with your body throughout the day, instead of feeling disconnected or sluggish. As we continue, there are a few more habits that may be quietly working against you, even though they seem completely normal on the surface. One of those habits is something many of us have loved for years, and that's wearing high heels on a regular basis. Now, I'm not here to tell you to throw them all away. There's something special about a beautiful pair of heels, and for certain occasions, they can make you feel elegant and confident. But when it comes to everyday life, they may be doing more harm than good, especially if staying active is one of your goals. Think about how you feel when you're wearing comfortable walking shoes compared to when you're in heels. In walking shoes, you move more freely. You're more likely to take a longer route, to stand a little longer, to stay out and enjoy your day. But in heels, there's often a quiet limitation. You may walk less, sit more, and avoid movement without even realizing it. Comfort plays a much bigger role in weight management than we often give it credit for. When your body feels supported, you naturally move more. And that movement, even in small amounts, adds up throughout the day. It's not about intense workouts. It's about being willing and able to stay active without discomfort holding you back. I remember switching to a pair of lightweight walking shoes for my daily errands, and it changed more than I expected. I found myself taking extra steps, choosing to walk instead of drive short distances, and even standing a bit taller because I felt balanced. It wasn't a dramatic change, but it was consistent, and that's what matters most. So if you have a pair of comfortable shoes that make you feel good, keep them close. Let them be your everyday choice. Save the heels for those special moments, and give your body the support it deserves the rest of the time. Now, there's another habit that can be surprisingly sneaky, and that's being drawn into buy one get one free deals at the store. These offers can feel like such a great bargain. It's almost like you're saving money, getting more for less, and making a smart decision. But let's pause and think about what's really happening. When you bring home more food than you actually need, especially items like cookies, snacks, or processed treats, they don't just sit there forever. They get eaten. Maybe not all at once, but little by little, day by day. I've done this myself. You see a deal, you grab 2 instead of 1, and suddenly your kitchen is stocked with more than your body really needs. And the presence of that extra food makes it easier to reach for something when you're not truly hungry. Instead, there's a quiet power in choosing just one. One package, one portion, one intentional decision. It shifts your mindset from more is better to just enough is perfect. And when you do want something sweet or indulgent, you can enjoy it slowly, without feeling like you need to finish everything because it's there. This isn't about denying yourself. It's about being mindful of what you bring into your space. Because once it's in your home, it becomes part of your routine. And that brings us to something deeply connected to how we see ourselves every day, and that is the clothing we choose to wear. Many of us love the comfort of loose, baggy clothes. They are easy, they are forgiving, and they allow us to move without restriction. But sometimes, they can also create a kind of distance between us and our bodies. When everything is hidden, it's easy to lose awareness of small changes, both positive and negative. You might not notice how your body feels, how your posture shifts, or how your energy levels change. This doesn't mean you have to wear anything tight or uncomfortable. It's not about squeezing into something that doesn't feel right. It's about choosing clothes that gently follow your shape, that remind you of your posture, and that help you feel connected to your body. I've found that even wearing something as simple as a well-fitted top or a light jacket that sits nicely at the waist can change how I carry myself. I stand a little straighter. I feel a bit more aware. And that awareness often leads to better choices throughout the day, from what I eat to how I move. Clothing can be a quiet form of encouragement. It can support your mindset without you even thinking about it. Now, let's talk about a habit that so many of us share, especially in the evenings or when we're out and about, and that is snacking between meals. It can start so innocently. Maybe it's a handful of crackers with tea, a small piece of cheese, or something you carry in your bag just in case. And before you know it, those little bites add up. What makes snacking tricky is that it often happens when we're not truly hungry. It's tied to routine, comfort, or even boredom. You sit down to relax, and your hand naturally reaches for something to nibble on. I've caught myself doing this many times, especially in the evening. Dinner is done, I'm not really hungry, but there's this habit of having just a little something. And that little something becomes a regular part of the day. One gentle way to shift this is to pause and ask yourself, am I actually hungry right now, or is this just a habit? That simple question can bring awareness in a way that feels kind, not restrictive. If you are hungry, then by all means, have something nourishing. But if it's just a habit, you might try replacing it with something else. A warm cup of tea, a short walk around the house, or even just a moment of stillness. Over time, those small choices help your body return to a more natural rhythm of eating when you're truly hungry and stopping when you're satisfied. And as we continue, there's one more habit that often feels like a treat, something social and enjoyable, but it can quietly influence your weight more than you might expect. That habit is eating out too frequently. And I want to begin this part by saying something important, because this is not about taking joy out of your life. Meeting a friend for lunch, enjoying a cup of coffee at your favorite cafe, or going out for a nice dinner is one of life's simple pleasures. It brings connection, laughter, and a sense of community that we all need, especially as we get older. But here's where the gentle awareness comes in. When eating out becomes a regular habit instead of an occasional treat, it can start to affect your body in ways that aren't always obvious at first. Restaurant meals often include more salt, more sugar, and more hidden ingredients than we would ever use at home. Even dishes that sound healthy can be prepared in ways that add extra calories without us realizing it. And portion sizes, they tend to be much larger than what our bodies actually need. So we sit there, enjoying the conversation, enjoying the meal, and we eat what's in front of us. Not because we're still hungry, but because it's there and it feels natural to finish it. I remember noticing this in my own routine. I would meet friends for coffee, and somehow that coffee would always come with a pastry or a slice of cake. It became part of the experience. Not something I consciously chose every time, but something that just happened. So instead of cutting out these moments completely, you can shift the way you approach them. You might go out and simply enjoy the company, ordering something lighter, or even sharing a dish. You can still have that coffee, still sit and talk, but without automatically adding extra food that your body doesn't truly need. And at home, there's a different kind of comfort. When you prepare your own meals, you know exactly what's going into them. You can keep things simple, fresh, and balanced. It gives you a sense of control, not in a strict or limiting way, but in a caring, nurturing way. As you begin to look at all of these habits together, something becomes very clear. None of them are extreme. None of them require you to completely change your life overnight. They are small, everyday patterns that we've all fallen into at one time or another. Relying on the car a little too often. Using a plate that encourages us to eat more than we need. Sitting for longer than our bodies were meant to. Choosing shoes that limit our movement. Bringing home more food than we truly need. Hiding in clothes that disconnect us from how we feel. Snacking without hunger. Eating out more than we realize. Individually, each one seems harmless. But together, they quietly shape how our bodies feel and function over time. And the beautiful part is this. You don't have to fix everything at once. In fact, it's much more powerful if you don't. You can simply choose one small thing that feels right for you today. Maybe it's taking a short walk instead of a short drive. Maybe it's switching to a smaller plate at dinner. Maybe it's noticing when you reach for a snack and gently choosing something different. These small shifts are not about discipline in the strict sense. They are about awareness. About treating yourself with kindness and respect. About listening to your body instead of fighting against it. Because your body is not working against you. It's simply responding to the environment you create around it. And when that environment becomes a little more supportive, a little more mindful, your body begins to respond in ways that feel natural and encouraging. You may start to feel lighter, not just in weight, but in energy. You may notice that you move more easily, that your clothes feel more comfortable, that your confidence begins to return in a quiet, steady way. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to feel in control again, not through restriction, but through understanding. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this conversation, it's this. You don't need a complicated plan. You don't need to follow every trend or try every new idea. Sometimes, the most meaningful changes come from letting go of what no longer serves you. Give yourself permission to make these changes at your own pace. Celebrate the small wins. Be patient with yourself on the days that feel harder. And remember that every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward feeling stronger, healthier, and more at home in your own body. I would truly love to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these habits in your own life? Have you already started making small changes that have made a difference for you? Your experiences can inspire someone else who is just beginning their journey. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel Elderly Faith Journey for more gentle, supportive guidance like this. We're here to walk this path together, one step at a time. And as you go through your day, do something kind for yourself. Something that reminds you that you matter, that your health matters, and that it's never too late to feel your best. Here's to living with strength, confidence, and joy at every age.